Okay, so, oh boy. This is my D1 nonfiction comic pitch. Before I get into it, here's a formal apology for the very low video production and quality. I'm gonna try really hard to keep my hand still. So my nonfiction comic proposal is on childhood trauma and how that's linked to identity, and how that is when you're young and something traumatic happens, and how that can distort that sense of identity that you usually would be growing at that time, at that age, sort of when you start to find yourself and stuff like that, and how trauma can affect that. And so it would be nonfiction, because it would be all based on my own childhood, or I guess growing up, or I'll just say journey. That's the easiest way to say it. And it would be audience-wise. First, I was thinking of something that's more for not really comforting, but for young people that have sort of gone through it or are going through similar things, to sort of validate that and just be like, hey, you're not alone in this, and all that jazz. But I think I would feel really bad if I made something like that and couldn't give it a happy, resolved ending, because I feel like it couldn't be super comforting. But because it's nonfiction, I feel like I owe it to the reader to be fully honest about it, at least for me. And so couldn't really put a happy yay and everything's good now ending. But that is neither here nor there. And so the audience, I shifted it to more of an informative thing, to sort of an older audience, young adults that don't really fully understand the effects of childhood trauma, or want to know it more, or if they have someone, a loved one or someone, they know someone and they want to understand more about them. So it'd be sort of more of an informative thing, and I think that's how the comics medium comes into play the most, because you could, I could talk about this topic, write a really long formal essay, or a book. I wouldn't write a book. I could hypothetically, or to tell it any other way, but I think with comics it's sort of not really simplifies it, but it just takes out all the excess, and it's just in its most essential form. And then it's because this comic would probably be pretty word heavy, with a lot of narration and explanations of things, but still just having the visuals to accompany it, I think can just really help, because a lot of the times it's hard to explain fully in just words or in just pictures. Things like this, I mean, that might just be me, I don't know. Yeah, and I think another good thing with the comics medium is because it has, how we talked about, that sort of the aspect of time, and how the passage of time can get sort of warped in it, and how comics can really play with that. And I think, again, back to wanting to tell this as truthfully as I can, because for me it's really the timeline is really warped, and the passage of time and perception of time is really difficult to grasp, and so I think that would also, with comics, having that, it would help the reader understand more than, you know, me talking about it, to actually be reading it and to be like, wait, okay, I don't understand the timeline, or like how this age or this version, if you will, of June relates to this one. And I think that would really help to fully understand it, because a lot of times, you know, people just ask like, oh, like, why are you like this? That's, I mean, no, yeah, that's true. People do ask that, but more specifically, like, with time-related things. And so, you know, even explaining it, sometimes people don't fully understand until they experience it. And so that's why I chose to do this, to talk about this via comics. 'Cause it's not, I mean, obviously, it's not my favorite thing to talk about, in regards to myself, but I felt like it was a perfect thing for the comics medium. So yeah, that's my pitch proposal. That's my proposal pitch. Oh fuck.